Mr. Aniefo, let me just ask you, since you were talking about having an independent body try to monitor some of the activities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, are you any more confident in what is going to happen on Saturday? I mean, do you think we will still be in the same place that we are right now, even though assurances have come that in the next 1 week there's going to be an action plan and there's going to be daily briefings, I mean, from at the International Conference Center? Does that give you any more hope that the process will be nothing like what we've seen?
I'll answer this way. If one person has been given one job and it takes 4 years to get that job executed, and at the very last minute we're still having issues, then what then would be our conception of what they're able to do over the next 1 week? We want to believe that INEC will have, identified certain loopholes and wanted to close it. But I think that going from antecedents or things that have happened in the recent past, we should manage our expectations to be able to see what INEC is able to deliver. But I keep saying that the critical point is this: the Nigerian people want to be part of this process. They want to elect leaders that will serve them and that will participate viably in the process of governance. And I think that that will then determine who we then use, what we use those things for, whether it's monitoring, whether it's just a simple evaluation, or whatever we want to do in terms of getting this process across to the people so that more and more people can go through that. But to answer your question quite directly, I think that if we're still having problems after all this planning, we have to manage our expectations as to what can be reasonably delivered by INEC over the next couple of days.
Okay, Mr. Juneka, let me let you weigh in on this issue of what can we realistically deliver, what can INEC realistically deliver. One of the major issues was transportation of materials from one place to another. And when we discussed it sometime last week, we were given the assurance that, that was sorted out. Apparently, it was not sorted out. From the perspective of the parties, what would you like to see done differently in terms of moving those materials from one place to the other? And INEC has 5 days in which to do it differently.
Yeah. Before I react to your question, I want to still plead with Nigerians, especially my very good people of Imo State. I came down to vote, and I returned back yesterday. I don't want our people to be discouraged. I saw a lot of enthusiasm on the part of our people to be part of this political process. So I want all Nigerians, and especially Imolites, to please turn out en masse again on Saturday to be part of this political process in making sure that we enthrone a very good leadership in this country. Having said that, I did say in the series of this, at the beginning of this discourse, that we had some interactive sessions with INEC, the leadership of INEC today, and also in the release, I'm sure by tomorrow, by 2 p.m. at the International Conference Center, the chairman will be in position to brief Nigerians as to the 6-point agenda that they have, to the point of delivering of the election. Those 6 points, where they are on each and every one of those points, so as to. But if we have to go by assurances and consultations we did today, I think everything is there to ensure that we have a very credible process. In fact, I want to still plead with Nigerians that we are satisfied with the explanations given to the INEC as to why we had to pass through this process. The decision they took was in the best interest of this country. It's better that this election was shifted than that would have entered into it and then it will end in a very chaotic manner. So I think let's endure and let it be part of our national sacrifice to ensure that we have a very good leadership in the country. So I think INEC is working around the clock. I'm sure by tomorrow, all issues will be addressed. They've assured by tomorrow they're coming up with the actual statistics and figures as to the PVC collections that we demanded that we want to have. I'm sure They promised us that by tomorrow those figures will be available so that from state to state, local government, ward, booths, will be able to know the total number of people that have collected their PVCs. And that will form the basis for us to assess the percentage turnout for this coming election. And that will also be the basis to know the number of people that are actually meant to vote in this election. So, and then also gave us assurances that anything that has to do with movement of a flight, that all those things have all been sorted out. All issues that concern returning the materials that have been released, going back, and the verification processes, the chairman will brief the nation tomorrow on all those issues. From the assurances we have, we're going to have the best election so far that this country has ever had before. It will be a lot of improvement on our process. And we believe that if we get this process right this time, our next electoral process, the next leaders that will emerge will really know that they are there for the people, that they are there to represent their people, that they are there to, administer all parts of this nation. So it will not be a matter of believing that maybe it's a section or this set of people, or that maybe results were written and that the people never mattered. I think this time, after this election, the position of the citizen of this country will be the most important position. It will no longer be an honorable member or a governor or the president that will be the most important person in this country, because people will now know that the power will now reside with the people. So I enjoin our people to come out en masse on Saturday to vote, and after voting, you wait to make sure that your vote counts. And we also want to enjoy all people, electoral officers, ad hoc staff, everybody who is involved in this process, to please, this is a national call. This is a call to duty. This is a service to this nation and a service to God Almighty.
You heard Mr. Ojinika there talk so passionately about what we need to do in terms of our civic responsibility and what INEC has promised. You share his optimism?
I would say I have a cautious optimism about the whole thing, because right from late last year, I think is when the ECOWAS team first came into the country in November under the protocol on democracy and good governance. INEC kept saying they have their acts together. No one felt it should be any different anyway, given what happened in 2015 with Jega. People thought there had been some improvement. So we normally would expect the INEC leadership currently to further improve on the system. Up till 24 hours before voting, INEC still assured Nigerians that they have their acts together. For me, that was a big issue, because at the point of cancellation, to what extent can I reasonably say INEC has now assured us again, and I honestly think everything will be right?
Is it a credibility issue for you?
It's a credibility issue. No, it's not about trust. I don't even think it's a thing that the INEC commissioners need to be moved around, or the chairman of INEC need to be removed. No, you can't do that now. It's too late. Otherwise, we'll create more problems for ourselves. But what we need to do currently is to encourage INEC to make sure they actually get it right. They can't afford a situation where they'll get the logistics wrong. I am one of those who have been advocating that INEC cannot completely rely, if they are to be truly independent, they cannot completely rely on federal institutions all the time, fire brigade, police, Air Force to move things and all that. We need to move towards decentralization. This is part of the problem we have in the country. When you have a centralized federalism, then you have a problem. You cannot reasonably go to any country where you have federalism, including America, where we copy the presidential system of government. You cannot have a centralized electoral system. We need to decentralize it, maybe to zonal level, so that if there's a problem in one area, it will not affect the whole country. So what we're seeing now is that we have some problems in a few states, and then the whole country is being grounded on election. So it's one of the defects. That is why some people are calling for restructuring, to say, look, let us look at the whole arrangement. You cannot continue to have the entire country being policed from Abuja, why not decentralize it? It's not for A or for B. It will make, it will create room for effective delivery of service. And that is what is most important. At the end of the day, we have to try and trust INEC. Whether we like it or not, INEC needs to work hard to regain its credibility. We don't have a choice. We can't cancel the election except you don't want democracy any longer. So I would have cautious optimism.